numbers are increasing, and everybody has to be aware of that, and we need to, stay home if you can. Do everything you can to try to keep the numbers down. This is not the time to relax.
Austin Mayor Steve Adler, just the latest leader being called out for his hypocrisy, telling constituents to stay home while he was in Mexico on his daughter's family honeymoon of sorts, following a small wedding in Texas. Today, once he was back home, he was singing a new tune.
I want you to know that I regret that travel. I recognize that the fact that I took that trip and at the same time was continuing to urge people to be cautious is confusing.
Out of control, more than 100,000 Americans hospitalized from COVID as we cross 14 million confirmed cases. The CDC director admits the U.S. was severely underprepared as the agency extends travel warnings through the holidays. Special delivery, the massive game plan to distribute the vaccine across the U.S. How the first 20 million doses will make it into the arms of Americans. We'll take you on board one flight prepping for go time. Plus, fighting misinformation when it comes to the vaccine. Falsehoods spreading faster than the virus itself in tonight's Vaccine Watch. As another one of President Trump's election lawsuits gets rejected, his administration's frantic push to cement its legacy.
But you're not free to just do it willy-nilly. There's the law, there's the science, there's the process.
Our inside report on the rush to overhaul rules and fulfill campaign promises. The wildfire danger in Southern California. Wind gusts are causing thousands of acres to burn, forcing families from their homes.
This is very much a $1 trillion type disaster that we're talking about.
Yes, a $1 trillion disaster. We're not talking about wildfires, hurricanes, or earthquakes. Our Ginger Z explains why it's not too late to get ready for the other big one. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. While there had been a bit of a lull in new COVID cases over the holiday weekend, most likely due to a drop in people getting tests right after Thanksgiving, cases are once again on the rise. And just yesterday, 2,804 Americans died from COVID. That's the highest number of any day throughout this entire pandemic. Just to put that in perspective, that's roughly the same number of Americans who died from the September 11th attacks. The grief and sorrow is a reminder of the contributions from some true heroes, the doctors, nurses, first responders, and essential workers, all working around the clock to care for the more than 100,000 Americans currently hospitalized, which is also a record number. And a shout out to all the scientists who put their lives on hold, isolated from their families, and worked 7 days a week, all for our benefit. The result, what Dr. Fauci told us last night, is beyond unprecedented and most extraordinary, a highly effective vaccine in less than a year. More on that vaccine in just a moment. But Whit Johnson leads us off with the drastic action that states are now taking tonight to slow the spread.
Tonight, the governor of California says he is pulling the emergency brake, warning the state's 40 million residents to brace for likely lockdowns in just days.
We do not anticipate having to do this once again, but we really all need to step up. We need to meet this moment head on, and we need to do everything we can to stem the tide, to bend the curve.
A 3-week stay-at-home order triggered when ICU capacity in a region falls below 15%, many areas right on the edge. Businesses like bars, wineries, hair salons would close. Any in-person schools could stay open, along with limited retail and takeout at restaurants. As California braces for potential lockdown, President-elect Biden making news, saying he has talked to Dr. Anthony Fauci, asking him to stay on.
I asked him to stay on in the exact same role he's had for the past several presidents, and I asked him to be a chief medical advisor for me as well and be part of the COVID team.
And the president-elect saying his inclination on Inauguration Day is to ask Americans to wear a mask for 100 days to help slow the virus and save lives.
In the first day I'm inaugurated, to say I'm going to ask the public for 100 days to mask. Just 100 days to mask. Not forever, 100 days. And I think we'll see a significant reduction.
This as the nation plunges into the darkest days of the pandemic. More than 2,700 American lives lost in just 24 hours. And this stunning admission from the director of the CDC.
This nation was severely underprepared for this pandemic. And I think we have to call it the way it is.
Morgues around the country starting to run out of room. Stark County, Ohio, bringing in a refrigerated trailer as COVID deaths climb.
Over the Thanksgiving weekend, we became completely filled out here at the morgue.
And hospitals bursting at the seams. At least 100,000 people now hospitalized with COVID, a new record.
And it's because of this virus, okay?
If my beds are full of COVID patients, I can't deal with those patients that need me when they come in with acute heart failure. We don't have staffing for us, so therefore we don't have beds.
The CDC extending its travel warning through the end of the year, pleading with people to stay home. As cases surge, the holiday season rush on testing continues. This drive-through testing site in Norwalk, Connecticut, many of the cars here lined up hours before the gates even open. Now you're seeing the numbers tick up again, correct?
Absolutely. The numbers are going back up, and we know that that's because people were exposed, and they're finding out through contact tracing that they might be at risk.
In Oklahoma, ICU nurse Lizanne Jennings lost her mother and husband to the virus within 3 days of each other.
I'm an ICU nurse and I help all these people and I couldn't save my own family.
Lizanne laying with her husband Dennis in his final moments.
I'm going to let you go now, okay? And he said, uh-huh. And I said, you're going to be in peace.
Our thanks to Whit Johnson for that. And now to what some are calling one of the biggest government operations since World War II. The preps continue ahead of that critical vaccine authorization meeting, which will happen 1 week from today. If the first Pfizer vaccine is approved, getting it distributed across the country will be only part of the battle. Convincing enough Americans and people around the world to take it will also be a struggle. Gio Benitez has more.
Tonight, as the first doses of this life-saving vaccine are distributed, that news about Pfizer's supply just moments ago. The Wall Street Journal reporting Pfizer already dealt with early supply chain obstacles. The company slashed its initial projections of doses in half this year, from 100 million to 50 million doses worldwide, after finding raw materials in production that didn't meet its standards. Pfizer stressing the problems have been fixed and will still hit its target of delivering 20 million doses in the U.S. this month. Tonight, Dr. Anthony Fauci raising alarms, saying the UK cut corners and rushed the approval of Pfizer's vaccine.
They kind of ran around the corner of the marathon and joined it in the last mile.
He later apologized, but hoping to convince Americans the vaccine is safe. Fauci saying the FDA is carefully reviewing the data.
If we had jumped over the hurdle here quickly and inappropriately to gain an extra week or a week and a half, I think that the credibility of our regulatory process would have been damaged.
States and cities preparing for the biggest and most complicated vaccine rollout in American history. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo today unpacking a sample box of Pfizer's vaccine, which must be stored at minus 94 degrees, holding up a vial, each containing 5 doses. The box can only stay open for no more than 90 seconds.
This is the weapon that is going to win the war. And that is the light at the end of the tunnel, right?
New York City officials say 50 hospitals have the cold storage capacity to store a total of at least 1.5 million doses. The other Herculean challenge, convincing Americans to get vaccinated.
We need to be very transparent with patients.
Dr. Victoria Smith participated in the Pfizer trial in Louisiana.
One of the reasons why I wanted to participate was to be a model of participation and have my own example be a model of the safety of the vaccine and the process.
And tonight, convincing people is a priority, but delivering the vaccine will be a challenge like never before.
This is the biggest logistical challenge that the industry in general has ever faced.
ABC News getting an inside look at United's cold storage facility at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. The vaccines will be in refrigerated shipping containers, and those can be stored in even bigger refrigerators like this.
Quite an impressive operation here. Gio Benitez joins us now. Gio, such a massive undertaking. It seems like it must have taken a while just to stock that 777.
Oh, absolutely, Lindsay. And you see one of those 777s right there, the belly of that plane. That is where the vaccines will go. And United tells us that they'll be able to fit more than 1 million doses of vaccine in each one of those planes. Really a monumental effort right here in Chicago, Lindsay.
Gio Benitez, our thanks to you. With the staggering number of COVID-19 cases and deaths that we're reporting tonight, this image has some additional meaning. This is Dr. Joseph Barron, head of the coronavirus unit at United Memorial Medical Center in Houston. You see him there in his full personal protective equipment, embracing an elderly COVID-19 patient on Thanksgiving Day. This now viral image says it all. It captures the pain and loneliness of the sick and the compassion of the exhausted healthcare workers who treat them. We are joined tonight by Dr. Barron. Thank you so much for your time and certainly for the important work that you're doing. Clearly, this is quite a touching moment that we're seeing in that picture. Give us the backstory of how this came to be.
Well, I mean, as you probably know, I have been very open with the media, and I've been trying to get the media to show what goes on in our COVID unit. So that particular day, I had Mr. Go Nakamura, who is a photographer, who was just taking pictures for one of the picture companies. And as we go into my unit, I see that this man is standing up next to his bed and he's crying. I forgot that I had a photographer behind me, and I just went straight to see the patient. When I see this man, he is crying. He's crying like a baby, and he is very, very sad. So I get close to him and I ask him, "What's going on with you?" And he tells me, "I want to be with my wife." So you see this elderly gentleman who wants to be with his wife. I guess any of us would have just, grabbed him and hugged him. And that's what I did, without knowing that Mr. Nakamura was behind me just taking pictures. So, I sit down with the patient. I finally calm him down. And the next day, people are calling me, "Hey, your picture is all over the internet." I said, "What picture?" I didn't even know what picture they were talking about.
And what kind of toll does the isolation have on these COVID patients? And do you think that it might play a role in the outcome of their health?
Absolutely. There is no question that, when somebody gets depressed, when somebody doesn't want to live, when somebody loses that will of living, they can die. And the isolation that patients have in a COVID unit, it's tremendous. I mean, you are there in a room where nobody can actually talk to you. Your family cannot be next to you. You have people coming to you, in these space suits. And the problem of that is that you feel isolated. You feel lonely. And even though I try to get my team and myself to go ahead and bring in pictures of ourselves so that people can identify us, it's not the same. People lose track of time. It really can make a difference in their outcome.
And we've been talking about the patients, but also talk us through the agony for the families who at best only are able to have maybe a video call but not be physically present to hold the hand of their loved ones in oftentimes their most dire hour.
And you are 100% correct. And and that's particularly more difficult for the elderly. People that may not be so technologically savvy, may not know how to make a video call. Even if we help them, they are not used to see somebody on a phone instead of, having somebody hold your hand. So it's a very, very sad situation.
And when you've been talking to those family members and you have to pass along oftentimes some really morbid news, how does that go, especially when it's a phone call? They're not there in person.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, as a healthcare provider, it hurts. And it hurts to see that somebody may be in their last minutes of life and they cannot have their loved ones next to them. I mean, this pandemic really has taught me that at the end of your life, sometimes people can die alone, and that's very sad.
And you say that you've worked 259 days in a row, which is just astonishing, especially in such tough circumstances. What does that feel like, and why haven't you taken any time off?
Well, I mean, it does get a toll on you. I mean, you need to see my nurses, my colleagues, my friends. Everybody gets in trouble. My nurses start crying in the middle of the day because they keep on having patient after patient. I have kept my adrenaline going. I've looked at some projects that I can do to just, get us happy. For example, we were involved in a music video just to lift up that sense of doom that we have as clinicians. I mean, we get so tired of seeing patient after patient after patient.
And how have you managed to keep yourself healthy from both the virus itself and just how taxing this all must be emotionally, apart from the music video?
To be honest with you, I truly think that I probably have some degree of immunity, because if I haven't gotten it in 259 days, that's actually quite impressive. For a period of time, I was not eating well. We were eating whatever we could because we were spending 16 to 20 hours a day in the hospital. In the last few weeks, I've actually tried to exercise, and that's helping relieve the stress as well.
And finally, want to play that music video that you were just referencing, something that showcases some of your other talents.
We're trying to save the lives of oh so many strangers. This is what we do, day in and day out. This is what we do.
Tell us about this and how it's helping healthcare workers who are on the front lines.
Well, I mean, there is no question that one of the things that you see is that the healthcare workers are getting burnt. So, the person that went ahead and did the lyrics and did the music, he reached out to me and said, hey, what do you think about this? And I said, that sounds like a great idea. The music was nice music. And I think that this helps you by lifting up your spirits. I mean, we are so exhausted, so tired. I think that healthcare workers around the globe can actually, lift up their spirits just by listening to this music video. And you can find it at healthcareworkersrock.org. And it's really, really a fun video. I had a blast creating the video with my colleagues.
I feel inspired just watching that and listening to you talk to us. So thank you very much, Dr. Braun, for all you're doing, for your time, and we hope you get some rest soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Meantime, with millions of Americans in dire need and more benefits set to expire at the end of the month, there's word the president appears willing to support a new stimulus bill, and that's fueling some optimism tonight that a deal may be in sight. Mary Bruce joins us now from Washington. And Mary, just a few days ago, this seemed like a long shot. What's changed exactly?
Well, what's changed is this new $900 billion bipartisan compromise plan. We are seeing it gaining serious momentum on the Hill. Even a growing number of Republicans are now coming out signaling that they can get behind this. And now we are seeing conversations starting. For the first time since the election, we saw today House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Republican leader Mitch McConnell actually have a conversation about COVID relief and this next round of stimulus funding. So both sides are growing increasingly optimistic. Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she's hopeful they can get this done. Mitch McConnell says a compromise is possible here, but it's still not clear exactly what he is willing to support. All along, he's been pushing for a smaller, more targeted deal. And then there's the question of the president. He so far hasn't made clear exactly what he's willing to sign. But late tonight, his top ally on the Hill, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, said he thinks that the president can get on board with that $900 billion price tag. The question is whether he can get on board with all of the policy details. So, Lindsay, as always, the devil is in the details here in Washington.
That's right. And do you think that it's possible, Mary, that the public announcements by Speaker Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Schumer that they would consider that big bipartisan compromise package really have been aimed at forcing Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's hand?
It certainly seems that their attempts to come out to back this compromise bill, even though, of course, it falls far short of what Democrats have been demanding all along, it certainly is upping the pressure on Republicans and on Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to come out and at least come to the table and try and reach some kind of deal here. They also know that, look, as we head into this very dark winter, there is a dire and urgent need, and millions of Americans are looking to Washington, looking to their elected representatives and saying, why can't they get this done? So both sides agree something has to be done. The question is, can they get it done and when? Lindsay.
That has been the question and still remains. Okay, Mary Bruce, our thanks to you. And tonight, President Trump is refusing to say whether he has confidence in Attorney General William Barr after the two reportedly had an intense meeting at the White House. Now, Barr, who has so often been right there at the president's side, told the AP that his Justice Department has not found evidence of voter fraud that would overturn the election. And tonight, once again, the question of presidential pardons is back in the news. Our Jonathan Karl reports in from Washington.
Still refusing to acknowledge he lost the election, President Trump is now lashing out at his own Attorney General, Bill Barr, accusing him of not looking hard enough to find election fraud.
Well, he hasn't done anything, so he hasn't looked. They haven't looked very hard, which is a disappointment, to be honest with you.
In fact, just days after the election, Barr, in an extraordinary move, did authorize U.S. attorneys around the country to look for evidence of voting irregularities. But earlier this week, he told the Associated Press, quote, "We have not seen fraud on a scale that could have affected a different outcome in the election." ABC News has learned the president confronted Barr about those comments in a contentious meeting at the White House.
Do you still have confidence in Bill Barr?
Ask me that in a number of weeks from now.
Today in Wisconsin, the president was handed yet another defeat in court. He and his allies have lost or withdrawn more than 30 cases so far. But his lawyers are still on a traveling roadshow of states where they are trying to convince local Republicans to overturn election results.
I'm going to be very brief because I have a number of witnesses.
Last night, Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani was in Michigan, where one Democratic lawmaker accused him of lying about election fraud because he wants to get a pardon for himself from the president.
You're attempting to seek a pardon, so why is this not part of that?
I will ask that he be disciplined for that. First of all,
hold on.
First of all, what he says is untrue. Second, that is a defamation of my professional character.
Rudy Giuliani clearly flustered there. Jonathan Karl joins us now from Washington. And John, we're hearing that the president's allies have discussed preemptive pardons for the president's children. And then just this week in Washington, Ivanka Trump sat for a 5-hour deposition in connection with a civil case.
This was a 5-hour deposition with the D.C. Attorney General. It was related to an investigation into whether the Trump International Hotel here in Washington improperly profited from the Trump inauguration. A 5-hour deposition in that case. Ivanka Trump put out a statement afterwards just today saying that the investigation is, quote, a politically motivated demonstration of vindictiveness and a waste of taxpayer dollars. But, Lindsay, this is really just the tip of the iceberg, just related to the Trump inauguration 4 years ago, just related to the inauguration. We know of at least 2 other investigations. Many investigations ahead potentially here for the Trump family.
All right. Jonathan Karl, our thanks to you.
Thank you, Lindsay.
And when we come back, the moment one of the world's most famous telescopes crashes to the Earth. The stunning decision by a major film studio could going to a movie theater eventually become another victim of COVID. But up next, during the final months of every administration, presidents move to firm up their legacies and priorities. So the question now, what can President Trump do while in office at this moment that will be hard for Biden to undo? Stay with us.
Admit it, these days, what you need to know seems to change, well, like every day. So what is it that you really need to know, want to know, to help you not just get through your day, but make the most of it? Feel smarter, feel better, feel happier. Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon? GMA 3, what you need to know. It's all about you. Lunchtime at 1 Eastern, 12 Central and Pacific on ABC. This is going to be so good.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown Hate, The War Among Us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
What you're seeing right now, this is part of the eye wall. This procession of migrants goes back 2 miles.
There is going to be catastrophic damage.
This fire has made a run. You can see those flames shooting up into the sky.
We are on the jam-packed red carpet.
To the right, guys. So this is the 4th weekend of protest.
Watch ABC News on location for Facebook Watch.
Your mom said, comb your hair. Your dad told you, smarten up. Your dog is judging you right now. And your best friend just called you crazy. We all need someone who'll pull no punches and give it to us straight. Now imagine getting your news like that. No bull, no spin, just give it to me straight. Straightforward news. straight to the heart of the story. ABC News, straightforward.
What's the most innovative daily news podcast out there to listen to every day? Well, the Edward R. Murrow Awards say it's Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. Even the New York Times calls us a top news podcast worth listening to. So if you like getting behind the biggest news stories of the day, inside all the details, the backstory, and what will happen next, then listen to Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. It's like no other news podcast out there. Even the critics agree. Listen free on Apple Podcasts.
The search continues for possible victims that vanished when a 600-foot wide mudslide slammed into their Alaska neighborhood. This all unfolded in Haines, Alaska. Officials say that 4 homes were completely destroyed, but many others were damaged. Fortunately, though, 4 people who were missing were ultimately found safe. President Trump has just 48 days left in office, and while he's been publicly keeping a lower profile and refusing to concede the election, behind the scenes, his administration is racing to solidify his legacy, fulfill campaign promises, and overhaul dozens of federal regulations that could take the Biden team years to undo. Our Devin Dwyer reports from Washington.
It's a sprint to the finish for a president hoping to leave a final mark. Even as he refuses to concede, Donald Trump is reshaping policies and disrupting government norms to the very end.
I think that there will be a lot of things happening between now and the 20th of January, a lot of things.
From immigration to environmental protections, Trump is pushing 11th-hour rule changes that could last for years.
We call them midnight regulations. It's the last chance to put these rules on the books before the Trump administration changes to the Biden administration. They can be reversed, but not easily.
Nonprofit news site ProPublica tracking 36 major pending regulations, with even more expected before Trump leaves office in January.
The Obama administration actually, depending on how you measure, had a little bit more than in the past, and so we might see that again.
They include religious exemptions for federal contractors, looser efficiency standards for shower heads and washing machines, and stricter eligibility for food stamps, even as millions out of work in the pandemic look to the government for help.
I think the final days of an administration are obviously hugely important, and it's just natural to want to get things done.
Carol Browner ran the EPA during all 8 years of the Clinton administration and was a member of President Obama's transition and first climate czar.
There were some things that we did want to finish up. But you're not free to just do it willy-nilly. There's the law, there's the science, there's the process. A lot of his midnight regulations are focused on the environment.
This EPA effort to ban the reliance on any scientific study that doesn't fully disclose all the raw data, right? Why is that so problematic?
We will simply not get the quality of science that EPA needs to make decisions. And this is a very, very intentional move on their part, on behalf of polluters, which is to limit the science and therefore limit the ability of EPA to make the smartest decision.
Browner says a rush to auction off drilling rights in the Arctic, strongly opposed by President-elect Biden, is especially high stakes.
The degree to which the leases have been entered into, you might have to buy them back. But hopefully the reality is we can continue to protect these areas that have been protected for hundreds of years now.
Raise your right hand.
And there are new moves on immigration. In his final weeks, Trump adding 8 new questions to the citizenship test and trying to make it harder for high-skilled foreign workers to get visas.
In this last-minute rush before the inauguration, Trump administration is doing everything they can to bring legal immigration closer and closer to the bare minimum, ramping up enforcement actions, and really trying to do everything they can to kind of like finish checking those boxes and make it as hard as possible for the Biden administration to rebuild the nation's immigration system.
The president also racing to withdraw U.S. troops from Afghanistan, and last month formally ending the Open Skies Treaty, and a move critics called a gift to Putin. It had allowed U.S. and Russia to conduct mutual surveillance flights to build trust.
Russia didn't adhere to the treaty, so until they adhere, we will pull out.
Some of Trump's actions will have permanent impact, like the rush to perform more federal executions before President Biden has the chance to put them on hold. 8 federal inmates executed so far this year, the most in more than a century, with 5 more slated before Inauguration Day.
The pace of these federal executions has no historical precedent. The last time you had more than 10 people executed by the federal government in a single year, you have to go back to Grover Cleveland's second presidency in 1890.
The president also giving executioners greater flexibility in how they kill.
The regulation will allow them without challenge to use whatever method of lethal injection that it wants to use.
Meanwhile, the president is continuing a record number of lifetime appointments to federal courts, breaking with 123 years of precedent by confirming more judges after losing re-election.
Generally, once an election occurs, confirmations stop until the next Congress begins. It's hard to know the impact right now exactly that these Trump-appointed judges will have, but we know it's going to be big. It's going to be huge. It's going to be generational.
Some of Trump's final acts face challenges in court, and if Democrats win control of Congress, there could be fast-track repeals. But experts say many changes won't be easily undone.
You have to go through the whole rulemaking process all over again, which takes multiple years and a lot of resources and is, cumbersome by design.
A reminder, the power of the presidency can make a lasting impact on America up to the very last minute of a White House transition. For ABC News Live, I'm Devin Dwyer in Washington.
Our thanks to Devin for that. It's still ahead here on Prime. The hurricane-force wind gusts fueling wildfires that are once again threatening homes in California. We are on the scene. A major update in the case against the 17-year-old who claimed self-defense after gunning down two people in separate incidents during protests in Kenosha. And have you heard of the Fauci effect? It could have a major impact in medical schools across the country. We'll explain. But first, our tweet of the day. Former President Jimmy Carter joining the efforts of Presidents Obama, Clinton, and Bush in bolstering support for the COVID vaccines if authorized.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live, the 24/7 streaming news source, ABC News. Wow. Breaking news, live events as they happen, streaming live, nonstop, straight to you. Original, on the edge, breakthrough storytelling from ABC News, National Geographic, ESPN, all designed differently for you to stream straight to any screen whenever you want, free. And imagine the most celebrated, epic live events and moments, all playing out right before your eyes.
See those flames behind me?
And go deeper inside the groundbreaking exclusives from the campaign trail only ABC News gets. Watch ABC News Live right now and anytime. Streaming on Roku, Hulu, Facebook, and abcnews.com.
ABC News Live.
Streaming everywhere, right to you.
ABC News Live.
The Americans here on the ground and the Iraqis. 18,000 tons. Patatas. Ismail? David. Over ground zero from Hurricane Michael. You can see just home after home. David, thanks for meeting you. This was your view.
My favorite view.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, mornings may look different these days, but where you start your day,
where you spend your mornings, where you get connected to everything that's happening.
And face it, there's a whole lot happening in our world these days.
Where you get all the breaking new information of the day to help you navigate through these times.
That's why we're here.
Good morning, sunshine.
And making sure you start your day off with a smile and some sunshine.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Oh, how I love saying that.
Wake me up.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
ABC News honored winner for the second straight year with the Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence in Television. ABC News, America's #1 news source.
This is GMA3, what you need to know. GMA3.
A third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon.
It's all about you. Lunchtime on ABC.
Welcome back, everybody. As COVID hospitalizations skyrocket across the country, we've been reporting on the extreme toll that it's taking on our healthcare heroes who risk their lives to save others. Well, it turns out that many more are hoping to join in the fight. We take a look at the dramatic rise in medical school applications during COVID by the numbers. Med school applications are up 18% compared to last year, according to the Association of American Medical Colleges. And that's impressive since year-over-year increases have been averaging less than 3% over the past decade. Now, this spike translates into more than 7,500 additional medical applicants nationwide, according to the AAMC. Stanford University School of Medicine, one of the nation's top schools, reports a 50% jump in applications since last year, with 11,000 applicants now vying for just 90 seats. And of course, getting into med school has never been easy. Pre-pandemic, U.S. medical schools had an average acceptance rate of just 6.7%, according to the NIH. Some medical school admission officers have called this new enthusiasm the so-called Fauci effect. Well, whatever the motivation, we wish all of these students well. And we still have lots to get to here on Prime. Misinformation about the upcoming vaccines is running rampant on social media platforms. What can be done? It's tonight's Vaccine Watch. And we know about the earthquake and fire threat plaguing California, but there is a different potential disaster that has happened there before that could cost taxpayers $1 trillion if it happens again. That's in this week's It's Not Too Late. But first, a look at our top trending stories on abcnews.com.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown Hate, The War Among Us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. #1 in the morning, #1 in the evening, with America's most watched newscast. #1 in late night versus the competition. #1 in politics, and most watched on this historic election night versus the competition. The #1 daytime talk show, and #1 in streaming news. Most trusted, most watched. ABC News is America's #1 news.
What's the most innovative daily news podcast out there to listen to every day? Well, the Edward R. Murrow Awards say it's Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. Even the New York Times calls us a top news podcast worth listening to. So if you like getting behind the biggest news stories of the day, inside all the details, the backstory, and what will happen next, then listen to Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. It's like no other news podcast out there. Even the critics agree. Listen free on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, mornings may look different these days, but where you start your day,
where you spend your mornings, where you get connected to everything that's happening.
And face it, there's a whole lot happening in our world these days.
Where you get all the breaking new information of the day to help you navigate through these times.
That's why we're here.
Good morning, sunshine.
And making sure you start your day off with a smile and some sunshine.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Oh, how I love saying that.
Wake me up.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
Friday nights, 9/8 Central. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime. 2020. Friday nights, 9/8 Central on ABC.
Welcome back. The canyons southeast of LA are in flames tonight as the bonfire, which started small, has now exploded into a massive wildfire. Mandatory evacuations are underway during a time that officials are encouraging people to stay home because of COVID. As Will Carr reports, the fire is being fueled by nearly 100-mile-per-hour Santa Ana winds.
Tonight in California, dual emergencies, a raging wildfire, and a painful pandemic. The bonfire in Orange County has scorched thousands of acres.
Go, go, go!
Forcing families to flee from their homes in the middle of the night.
The fire came so fast that Lark couldn't get in, so we literally had to depend upon other neighbors to come and grab horses, grab our dogs, cats.
Word tonight that 2 firefighters have been hurt in a region that has not seen significant rainfall in quite some time.
You can hear the flames eating through this bone-dry brush, which is acting essentially as a jet fuel for this fire.
Pushing the fire, Santa Ana winds with gusts over 90 miles per hour. Powerful enough to knock over tractor trailers in San Diego County, where the Willow Fire has damaged homes. And coupled with the extreme fire danger, California's looming stay-at-home orders announced today, which could leave families with few options if they're told to evacuate.
Lindsay, with strong winds continuing to fan these flames tonight, there's another red flag warning that's going to hit California next week in a historic fire season that's showing no signs of letting up. Lindsay.
Will, our thanks to you. And turning our focus east now, our weather team is also tracking a potential major storm system brewing in the south that they say is set to head up the coast. The storm is supposed to bring heavy rain tomorrow across the southeast and then strengthen as it makes its way north. On Saturday, depending on where you are in the northeast, you could experience gusty winds and isolated flooding. If you live in interior New England, some spots may get up to a foot. You heard that right, a foot of snow. And with just weeks to go before some Americans make that important COVID-19 vaccination decision, misinformation and conspiracy theories are flooding social media. Experts are increasingly concerned, and today in an exclusive interview with ABC's Bob Woodruff, Facebook announced it's launching a new plan to remove postings identified by scientists and specialists as damaging and wrong. Here's Bob Woodruff with the latest Vaccine Watch.
With vaccine delivery likely a few weeks away, the internet is flooded with dangerous misinformation.
We're seeing misinformation spikes. It spiked because people are uncertain, and people are taking advantage of the fact that people are uncertain.
Claire Wardle has been tracking these inaccuracies since the very beginning of this pandemic. She says these distortions are driven by political and economic motives or conspiracy theories. Certain posts falsely claimed Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine will change people's DNA.
So people then take that and go, what, DNA? And then they come up with a false narrative which says it's going to change your DNA.
Claims like this are firmly debunked by scientists and have no basis, yet they continue to be shared online, critics say, on platforms like Facebook.
Facebook is the largest host to vaccine misinformation among social media.
Today, Facebook announcing a campaign to remove COVID vaccine misinformation shared by its users on both Facebook and Instagram.
What's changing today is that we will start to remove misinformation about the COVID vaccine that could lead to harm.
In an exclusive interview with ABC News, Vice President of Product and Social Impact, Naomi Gleit, says Facebook has long warned users of inaccuracies with banners on the site and has removed about 12 million misleading COVID-19 posts since March. But now it's actively searching for vaccine falsehoods.
How do you make that determination that something should be removed?
This is a really difficult challenge. We should not be making these decisions ourselves. That is why we are working with these health partners to identify the claims, these harmful claims that should be removed. It's also why we're working with fact checkers to identify misinformation and reduce it.
But according to experts, Facebook and Instagram aren't the only home for misinformation.
It's very easy to focus on Facebook and Twitter, and they're the platforms that are discussed a great deal. But actually, YouTube is a real problem.
This video, for instance, has over 15 million views. On this Joe Rogan podcast, conspiracy theorist Alex Jones's invalid claims are going undisputed.
So in this video, you've got Alex Jones. He's on a podcast, and he's talking about vaccines, and he's talking about these concerns about DNA.
What he is saying is that this mRNA that is part of the vaccine will somehow be incorporated into the DNA of human cells. But that's just absolutely false.
What would be the motivation for people want to intentionally give out this bad information?
Sometimes it's to make money. Sometimes it's to drive you to their website where they're actually selling health supplements. So it's in their interests to create a community. Other people are seeking questions for their lives, and they have found communities online where people have said, I'll tell you why your life isn't going very well.
Making it all the more challenging to combat. Most vaccine misinformation is shared in close circles online.
It's harder to know what's circulating in these groups, and because the messages are being shared by people who know each other, you're more likely to believe it.
We have a lot of work to do on groups, but there is a lot that we are doing today. Again, if you post content that violates our community standards, we will take it down. That's true if you post it anywhere, including in a private group.
What do you say to those, expert critics out there said you just have done this really too late or too slowly?
I would say that this has been a top priority for the company since January. Everyone at the company is working on this in some way.
Twitter tells us it has been labeling some inaccurate tweets as disputed information while removing many others permanently. And right now, accurate information is crucial because by the end of this month, hundreds of thousands of Americans will decide whether or not to take a vaccine. Bob Woodruff, tracking the race for a vaccine.
Super helpful information there. Our thanks to Bob for that. And when we come back, the pandemic has taught us that 100-year threats can become reality. So the question, have you ever heard of an arc storm? Ginger Zee is about to inform us about what we can do now about this disaster that will happen again.
Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. #1 in the morning, #1 in the evening, with America's most watched newscast. #1 in late night versus the competition. #1 in politics, and most watched on this historic election night versus the competition. The #1 daytime talk show, and #1 in streaming news. Most trusted, most watched. ABC News is America's #1 news.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any place else. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir.
We have made it through another week together.
America's most watched program across all of television.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Lunchtime at 1 Eastern, 12 Central and Pacific on ABC. It's all about you.
What you're seeing right now, this is part of the eye wall. This procession of migrants goes back 2 miles.
There is going to be catastrophic damage.
This fire has made a run. You can see those flames shooting up into the sky.
We are on the jam-packed red carpet.
To the right, guys.
So this is the 4th weekend of protest.
Watch ABC News on location for Facebook Watch.
Breaking news, context, analysis.
With today's extraordinary news cycle,
Now is the perfect time for ABC News Live.
A streaming news game changer. The time is now for ABC News Live. Get it, streaming everywhere.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source.
Wearing face coverings, avoiding groups, keeping our distance.
Avoid unnecessary travel and continue to wear your mask when leaving your home.
The COVID Tracking Project reports more than 100,000 Americans are currently hospitalized from COVID-19, a new record, and more than double the number at the start of the month. Warning from the director of the CDC about the months ahead.
December and January and February are going to be rough times. I actually believe they're going to be the most difficult time in the public health history of this nation.
The day after the United Kingdom approved Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine for emergency use, Dr. Anthony Fauci telling CBS News that process might have been rushed.
They really rushed through that approval. The FDA, the United States of America Food and Drug Administration, is the gold standard.
The Illinois teen charged in protest-related shootings in Wisconsin has lost his bid to dismiss some of the charges against him.
The court denied a defense motion to dismiss 2 of the 6 charges Kyle Rittenhouse faces in connection with the deadly August shootings in Kenosha that followed the police shooting of Jacob Blake. The court determined there is probable cause to believe Rittenhouse committed felonies and bound the case over for trial. The defense tried to stop that by arguing Rittenhouse acted in self-defense, but the court ruled that's for the trial to determine. Arraignment is set for January 5th.
The dramatic collapse of the Arecibo Observatory's massive radio telescope seen on camera. Engineers unable to save what was one of the most important innovations of the last 50 years. A proud Puerto Rican landmark made famous in movies, including James Bond flick GoldenEye. But it wasn't just the stuff of movies. There were huge discoveries. In 1967, astronomers here learned that it took Mercury 59 days to make one full rotation. On Tuesday, the news was devastating. Meteorologist Ara Monzon fighting back tears.
Tengo que informarles con el corazón en la mano que el observatorio de Arecibo colapsó. Se derrumbó, señores.
Well, an investigation is underway after a tiger attacked a worker at the Big Cat Sanctuary in Florida that was featured in the Netflix documentary series Tiger King. Paramedics took 69-year-old Candy Kauser to the hospital with a severe arm injury. This morning, she noticed a 3-year-old male tiger named Kimba wasn't in the right cage at the facility in Tampa. So she went to close a gate, and that's when the tiger attacked, biting her arm.
Candy was trying to feed Kimba and realized he was locked out of where his food was. So she went over on the other side by the step offices and heard her yelling. So I ran over and she said, "He's got my arm." And I saw him with her arm in his mouth. And when I ran over, he let go. She fell to the ground.
The worker is set to have surgery, and the tiger right now is being quarantined.
Well, an unprecedented move by one of Hollywood's biggest studios. Warner Brothers says its entire 2021 slate of films will stream on HBO Max the same time it hits the theaters. That includes the new Matrix movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, and Lin-Manuel Miranda's adaptation of his stage hit In the Heights. Warner Brothers says the films will be rolled out online in theaters same time. Then 1 month later, the movies will be pulled from HBO Max, but continue to play in the theaters.
Finally tonight, COVID, hurricanes, wildfires, 2020 has had it all. But there's also the possibility of a $1 trillion disaster, and you probably haven't heard anything about it. It likely won't happen this month, but as Ginger Zee explains in this week's It's Not Too Late, now's the time to get ready.
Hi, I'm Ginger Zee, and it's not too late. This week, it is absolutely not too late. We can all get ready for what could be California's most epic disaster of all time. No, I'm not talking about more wildfires. Holy. And not the next big earthquake. I am talking about a disaster that you probably haven't heard about before. It's something that experts call the Arc Storm. Now imagine this, almost a month of drenching storms along the West Coast. They would swallow California in 10 to 20 feet of rain. I mean, we're talking 200 inches in some places. Imagine parts of Sacramento, the San Francisco Bay Area, Los Angeles, San Diego, all going underwater. There would be thousands of landslides, major dam failures, and the state's entire farm industry decimated. Now, wait a minute. Why have few of us ever heard this dire prediction? Well, it's mostly because people don't remember the last time it happened. Yeah, you heard me. It has happened in what was California's deadliest and most destructive natural disaster in recorded history. It was called the Megastorm. It happened in the winter of 1861 and 62.
California, 1862. It has rained for almost 45 days.
This was a multi-week extreme precipitation and flood event that essentially filled up a significant portion of the Central Valley with floodwater, creating an inland sea supposedly 30, 40 miles wide and 150 miles long.
And it wasn't just in California. It was one of the most destructive and deadly in Nevada, Arizona, and Oregon. And guess what? It's going to happen again. And it could be 3 times as devastating as the earthquake and the fires. Published 9 years ago, Dr. Lucy Jones and her team were warning that a storm like that of 1861 and 62, if it happened today, could cost the state more than $700 billion.
Our model that we did, what we called the arc storm, it was actually raining for about 25 days. And that was enough to flood 1/4 of the property in California.
This is very much a $1 trillion type disaster that we're talking about. It would also result in loss of housing for hundreds of thousands, if not a couple of million people in California, potentially. It could completely wipe out the agricultural industry for a couple of years, as well as the Silicon Valley corridor in the Bay Area and the movie industry in Southern California, along with tourism.
1.5 million people would have to be evacuated from their homes.
We're talking about moving people out of harm's way for however much time it takes until the flood scenario can subside.
1/4 of the buildings in the state of California could flood. And here's the real issue. Only 12% of the properties in California are insured for flooding. A storm like this is inevitable. 1861 and 62 wasn't a freak event. The tree rings and the rocks show us that there were 6 megastorms that were more severe than the megastorm in the last 1,800 years. Here's the good news, though. We will be able to see it coming. We're really good at predicting this type of thing at least a month or so in advance. But here's the bad news. When we see it coming, if it were to be, say, next month, we're not ready. For example, the California levee system is set up for 75 to 200-year floods, not a megastorm. And there's one other silver lining, that if you plan for the arc storm, it also complements planning for earthquakes.
We are not prepared, I would assume, then, for another 1861-62.
It's very difficult to prepare in many ways, and you can argue that we've made it worse because we put in our flood control and then we built underneath the flood control. So we have a lot of homes sitting in floodplains protected by levees.
So individuals need to know what their risks are, know where you live, and have a plan for your family to manage an emergency.
And that arc storm simulation that I told you about, well, it was put together almost a decade ago, so it needs an update. UCLA professor Daniel Swain is working on one, a brand new model for the arc storm. 10 years ago, the model did not take climate change into account.
I think what we're trying to do now is update that original arc storm scenario for the 21st century using the improved science, the improved modeling tools, but also incorporating the fact that we're much more confident sort of about the details of our warming climate and how that is clearly increasing the risk of extreme precipitation events.
That means that the storm Swain and his team will model this time around might actually be worse than the flood of 1862. But here's the upside of the new simulation.
I'm most optimistic about the fact that this is something that we may have caught, while it was still early enough. There's not really a lot we can do about preventing the event itself, but there's a lot that can be done to make the event less bad.
The wet winter of 2016-17 was a wake-up call for the state. The Oroville Dam, if you'll remember, nearly failed.
I'm not sure how many folks realize that there was a very real possibility of a 30-foot wall of water coming down the Feather River Canyon into the Central Valley.
That near failure was a fire drill of sorts. So if you're sitting in Nashville or Billings or Boston and you're still watching this wondering, why does this matter to me? Well, how about a $1 trillion disaster in California? That sends the entire U.S. government way deeper into debt. It could also empty your kitchen table. California grows a large portion of our country's crops. 99% of walnuts, 99% of artichokes, 97% of kiwis. California, though, is committed to doing its part.
This planning is taking place, but part of the responsibility is on them to be informed, to stay informed, and to do their part.
We've got to open up our minds a bit, looking at all the consequences and looking over a larger time. What government needs to be doing for us is being the guarantor of the future.
A future that will include another megastorm at some point. But if we plan right, we can all be ready. And because of that, I'm Ginger Z, and I promise it's not too late.
Fascinating and terrifying all at the same time. Our thanks, as always, to Ginger Z. Before we go tonight, our image of the day. Take a look at this medical staff member from the same Houston hospital as the head of the ICU who we spoke with earlier tonight. He was pictured in his PPE gear, taking a quick break before going back to work. Our tremendous gratitude to all of the healthcare workers across the country, putting their lives on the line, working tirelessly to fight this health emergency on all of our behalfs. That's our show for this hour. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's stories. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us, and good night.